Hello and welcome to Flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot. This is episode 13, and this week we are in October 2001. I'm RGT, and as always, I am joined by the PlayStation perfectionist, the enemy of emulation, the man who always finishes games. It's UCP George. How you doing, George?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I forgot my own catchphrase. I thought you were going to say the man who always finishes first or last, and I was like, that's. But either which way is as always, a stunningly arranged series of compliments directed in my general direction, which
You
I have to
deserve
admit,
them.
I was going to say I don't deserve any of it.
You do deserve all of them.
But I'm here, greased up, and ready to get my teeth into this chosen month and era. I mean, it's the week before some really great things going on. I do believe we're kind of just on the edge of the Xbox release, based on some of the things that I'm hoping Ray's going to bring. So I know where I'm at in terms of what I'm wanting to do. In terms of the build-up, though, I'm ready to. I think I might be ready to get stuck in.
Yeah, this was. I know I say this all the time. On certain months, in certain years, we were spoiled. But the list of games that we would have hopefully been playing, and the list of games that we would have liked to have been playing at the end there of Stingray's boot was unbelievable. That is probably the most I've had to put into a script. There were so many, and I remember when I messaged you with the script over, just said, look, there's a lot of good games on here. October 2001 going into November was a very good year. Oh, and I'll also just do a bit of housekeeping. We had a comment last week.
We did?
Yes, we had a comment last week saying that we didn't mention the Wii as that was getting into full swing then. No, we didn't. Reason being, more than anything, we probably should have mentioned the Wii more, so sorry about that. But because we take a certain month from a certain year, we can only sort of really discuss what them games were. And there wasn't really much for the Wii on that month, but we should have really mentioned it because it was then getting into a full swing. So we do apologise about
Well,
that.
that's two written warnings and a verbal. I mean, you're out of here for accumulation. Is this the last episode of Flashback?
Yeah, well, in the last episode, Flashback, the last one I'm on, so I'm gone after this. So
Well, if you're not, I can't imagine what
that's
my
either
era of Flashback looks like. Solo flashbacks.
well, you're either doing a solo or you're going to have to rope someone in who's actually decent at doing a podcast. So
Uh, Mumsy? She's free.
fantastic. Right. Let's get on to the games. Is there any that takes your eye straight away, George? I bet there is. I bet there's quite a few on
Um,
there that you're thinking,
well, on the list provided to me, it goes without saying that GTA 3
yeah.
is certainly the be all and end all of games in terms of its effect on the overall barometer of the gaming industry. I remember the
Mm.
first time I saw that game. I'd been away, so maybe some of the previews and hype was lost on me a little bit, but I walked past an old friend of mine playing this and stopped, reversed. I said, what is that you're playing?
Mm.
Oh, it's Grand Theft Auto. I was like, no, it's not like that. Oh, this is a new one, Grand Theft Auto 3. At that moment, I just sat down. I never say a lot more. I just watched and was blown away by what I was seeing. My console at the time was a Dreamcast, so
Sold it.
I didn't sell it. I kept it.
All right.
I didn't
Pre-order
sell it
for
in that
PS2.
moment, but yeah, it certainly got my attention. That's a
Mm.
fact, and kind of opened my eyes to maybe where consoles were going. I do think that GTA 3 was way ahead of its time
Mm.
because it would be a long time until the PS2 sort of put out anything like this outside of Rockstar's ecosystem
Yeah,
in
without
terms
a doubt.
of graphical fidelity and freedom of play style and choice. And as we say, it was the one that started them all. It's the one that started the 3D era. And every game that span off that just, I think, really just got better each time. People
Without a
who
doubt.
listen to our PS2 special will know that I think you pulled what San Andreas out of the bag, and I agree, I would agree. I mean, that's the the one to play on PlayStation 2, but this at the time was a hot ticket for every console manufacturer. I think
Mm,
looked over and went, we got caught slipping there.
yeah. I mean,
We all scrabbled for it afterwards, if you remember.
at the time, we didn't realise 23rd of October 2001 that this game would change everything as far as open world games would go. We just didn't realise at the time. And I
Mm,
mean, that iconic art cover with that sort of hand drawn art on. And I remember my mate had Grand Theft Auto 3 and literally bought it. It had been out for a couple of months. He went down the local computer shop, saw that there, just wanted something different and thought, oh, they're the guys that made the ones on the PS1 we used to play. Oh, I'll just give it a go. And I popped in, saw him after work, and he was like, "Are you seen this?" And I was like, "Whoa, what?" He's like, "Yeah, this is how it is now." And I was like, "Can you do anything?" Yeah, get in the car, you can do this, you can do that. And that was it. We were sold. And we were still playing because that must have been actually about sort of 4 months after it came out. We were still playing when Vice City was being released.
yeah.
And I know I've said this story before. I went at midnight, went to the local Tesco's, picked up Vice City, come back. We turned it on, but we swore to ourselves. We said, right, we'll just do the first little bit, but we're not playing it till we finish three. So we just done the first little bit, the sound and the music, and you drive to your lawyers on Vice City, and we're like, oh no way. So we're like, right, take it out, let's finish, get three done, and then we get them straight onto Vice City, and it was just completely different gaming. I mean, what Rockstar done, it was just they're not necessarily probably the first to do it, but to do it really well was just unbelievable. And like you say, each one progressed. You know, you got the Vice City and your character spoke. Obviously, you had Ray Liotta and your character spoke, and there was more, not so much more story, but more character interaction in Vice City. Then obviously San Andreas made the world bigger and got that right analog stick for your camera and refined it even more to about what you could do on a PS2. But this is where it started, Grand Theft Auto 3. And yeah, what a game. And yeah, 2001, 25 years ago. Unbelievable. Um,
What are you going
what?
to pick out, Handsome Man?
Well, I was looking at another Rockstar game. That's Smuggler's Run 2.
I was just
Um,
seeing that.
yeah. And
It did come out. Yes, yeah, it did.
yeah. Um,
They 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 urinated on their own bonfire with their own franchise.
and I remember playing the first one, didn't realise I didn't even pay attention it was Rockstar.
Now you know you go back, it feels like a GTA prototype testbed though, doesn't it? As
Oh
does
yeah, the way
Midnight
the
Club, in my
cars
opinion.
yeah, and the way the cars drive and that, you could see that there were certain games that one would be driving, one would be on foot, and they'd sort of then put that all into one into a GTA game. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed the first game, and the second game I didn't play till a lot later when I was sort of collecting really. But very different from Rockstar in a way, but just that good sort of fun, trying to get from A
Yeah,
to B
yeah,
and
it wasn't
smuggle
that
the
long
stuff.
ago I popped in Smuggler's Run 1, and I tell you what, I like the series, and I did at the time, but coming back with the modern eyes, it feels
I know what
not
you
only
mean.
the menus, but the levels themselves feel very, they're big and they're open, but they are bare bones.
Yes, yeah, they are. They when you look into the, as far as you can see in the distance, there's not a lot there. A few mounds and a few jumps to go over, but yeah, it was. They always see at the time. Rockstar seemed to have. Obviously, you didn't have the online then, so they'd have their main franchise, and they'd always have these spin-off games that would be, your Max Paynes or your Smuggler's Runs or, what is the other one, State of Emergencies. They'd always do a couple of games in a different genre that would just keep ticking away in the background. And yeah, Smuggler's Run I always had really good fun with. I never bought it full price, always waited to a sale or it was in the bargain bin and picked up. But yeah, good fun game. Anything else on there for you, George?
A couple of what I would call notable exceptions. It's nice to see the NTSC release of Kinetica there, which is from Sony Santa Monica, if memory serves. I think it's from the God of War team. It was we talked of Rockstar doing engine development. I do believe Kinetica was engine development for God of War, if memory serves.
Oh,
Devil
wow.
May Cry, I feel like we've talked to death recently.
Mm,
I think it
mm.
was only a week ago we talked about that, so it seems a bit odd that it's here again. But we'll I tossed it round in my mouth, for want of a better word. Evil Twin Cyprian's Chronicles. That
Mm.
was must have been coming out 2001 on the Dreamcast. I remember that being a late Dreamcast release. Quite the good-looking game. Um, Reviewed well as well at the time. I think it got a release on maybe PlayStation 2, if memory serves.
Mm.
Um,
I think I remember it for Dreamcast, I believe.
yeah, I always remember that white box art sort of compressed down onto the case. And want to give a shout out to the um, I want to give a shout out to the 2K series. This one in particular, NFL 2K2. It's part of the
Mm.
Sega Sports range when it was what it was at the time. I really love the NFL 2K series.
Yeah, you've
I
always
think
spoke highly of those when we spoke about them on
2K5
UCP and
was
that.
like the pinnacle for me. The NFL 2K5 game, I was away from home for a long time, and maybe it's just one of those moments where you get sort of Stockholm syndrome with that one game, but
Mm.
it was doing things others weren't. And then I've looked around the internet, post that moment and seen that that game does have a collection of people that kind of gravitate towards it even to this day.
Mm.
I popped it in not that long ago and was kind of blown away by it's not straight into the game. It's got footage of the arena before you go in.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, when the different quarters happened, it would cut to the parking lot and there'd be a guy on the sort of fold down bed of his truck watching it on a big screen in the parking lot because he couldn't get inside and he had like a little chiller and some I might be over nostalging it here, but there was like a grill on the go and
Well, no, I think you're right because yesterday I literally watched a video. We were away for the weekend, got back. We watched a video. I think it might have been Retro Rick on YouTube, and he had a 2K NFL game playing on his Dreamcast on the TV in the shop, I believe.
mm,
And I remember even then, just yesterday, thinking that looks really, really good. The colours and the animations of the players running
it,
and how the stadium looked. It was, and I was actually surprised when he said it was a Dreamcast. I thought, God, that looks good. That
yeah,
looks really good.
it got its big push in the States on Dreamcast, but I didn't really get to get my grips into the 2K series. It changed its name slightly by then to ESPN NFL 2K5. But to me, it was like, yeah, I see why everyone was getting excited. If I had this on Dreamcast, I'd gone nuts for it. I'd have been walking
Mm,
around in NFL jerseys in 2001. You know how susceptible I am to programming RGT. You show
certainly.
me a baseball game, and I'll buy every baseball jersey ever made.
And
So
he has done that.
I'd have gone nuts for that, big time.
Yeah.
I've always had a penchant for the American sports.
And the good thing
Bef
is as well with them sports games is I know a lot of people say, oh, they're sports games, they're not the hidden gems or the hardcore, but you get hours and hours and hours out of them, and even the Pro
you
Evos still play well now, and you get hours out of those
you
games.
find the right one, and it'll
Yeah, that
last you
you
a whole
like this.
gen. Yeah.
Mm.
A couple more. Is there any more on there while I'm doing my shout outs to games? Or is anyone you want to
Um,
deep dive?
Obviously, October 26th, 2001, we had the first Pikmin,
That's one of
which
the
has
ones I
been,
was going to shout
yeah,
out.
which has
Yeah.
been a successful franchise for Nintendo and actually much loved and actually, quite high in value now when you try and pick these out on the GameCube.
Value be
Uh,
damned. It's a great game,
it is,
gameplay
yeah. I've
wise.
only
And
briefly played. I keep meaning to go back to them, but it's very unique what you
at the
do and how
time
you
on a
do it.
CRT, it looked photorealistic.
Mm,
Now it doesn't, but thank God it still looks nice. And underneath that is a gameplay loop that will just keep you coming back.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I was also going to mention Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3,
I
which
saw that on there and
and
thought you might give it some legs.
which is also um, in a lot of people's mind the last decent Tony Hawk's game. Four was still I thought was pretty good, but I mean we've got a bit of news about this as well as we go on with the show. But I thought that was brilliant. They had sort of one was really good, two got the manual added in, and then we got this Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which was a bit of a crossover Gen one, but again with good soundtracks and great controls. After four, I think they realised they'd tilted over the edge and then started going on these random wastelands and
Three
undergrounds
is
and
the last one I really, really enjoyed. I have to
Yeah,
admit,
a
even
lot of
though
people
I
say
would have
that.
to admit it was already past the verge of like ridiculousness by three.
Mm.
But what I really like about three is it starts with AC/DC's TNT from memory.
Yeah, I
Oi,
think you're right. Yeah,
bow, 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 down, 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 down,
yeah,
down, down, down. I'll be Gabby number one, or whatever it is.
yeah.
I'm dynamite. I'm
Brilliant.
TNT. And
Yeah,
the clips, it was one of those really great videos where the clips changed to the beat of the tune, like,
yeah.
and it was like, yeah, this is. I would sometimes just retreat to my only safe space that I had at the time, pop that on, and I'll be honest with you, that was worth it alone. But the
Mm.
game was, let's face it, an evolution, as you said, the first two, throwaway fun. I think three had firmly stuck its tongue in its cheek, though, for me. And I like one because it feels still quite grounded.
Yeah.
Two is that middle ground. Three is like, yeah, let's just face it. This is the game where you
Mm.
grind telegraph wires now.
Mm.
Electric
Yeah,
cables. It's
yeah,
what you do. It's part of it. We're not even going to hide behind it because look up there. Most of the letters were skater up there, aren't they? Like, yeah, it's not just a glitch. It's something you want me to do.
yeah. I mean, I was watching last year sometime. I was watching a YouTube clip, and I think it was a podcast that Tony Hawk's was on, and I think they were talking about after Tony Hawk's 4, I believe. I don't think it was 3. I think it was 4. But anyway, and it was Neversoft and sort of Activision, weren't it, who were doing it, and they come to him and said, "Look, we need to sign you up again. Do you?" And he's like, "Well, to be honest, I think we're sort of over the peak now. I don't think, I don't know if even four's done that well. Do we start? I don't know what to do." And he said he just handed me a check for 4 million, and he was like, "Oh right, yeah, all right then, yeah, we'll do some more games." Signed up because off it went. But they were obviously still, mate, just to have his Tony Hawk's name on it. I suppose they were worried he was going to go off with another company. But yeah, 4 million.
The two had become synonymous with each other. The two had become synonymous with games. Tony Hawk is a very famous skateboarder, but is he famous to the current generations because his name's on a skateboarding game, or they remember, like very few people, in all honesty, him doing his 980 flip or whatever? And unless
Mm.
you've done it inverted, Sir Tony, you're not even listening.
One more I was going to say was Virtua Tennis 2.
That's exactly the one I was going to pick.
Yeah,
So nice work.
what even now? I mean, I've said the story before. Ex-girlfriend's brother, he just bought a Dreamcast for Virtua Tennis. That's all he had on it, and that's all he played. And he played every day. And I'm the same. I mean, that's one of the only arcade games I've completed. Absolutely, what a tennis game! Still one of the best tennis games there is. Yes, the characters look a bit blocky and a bit chunky now, but the
No,
the way
mate.
the tennis plays is
Yeah,
so good,
it's still the
so
best
good.
tennis game.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
you're right.
I think it's in a tie between one and two. Like I don't necessarily like the direction of two so much. Like I do think one is a real pure product.
Mm, mm.
In
Yeah,
terms of
are we
two
on
for
that?
the home console offering as well, it started to get a little bit busy. Whereas one was
Yeah,
a straight arcade port, you're playing tennis, pal.
yeah,
I think there's a little bit of skill building from memory,
yeah,
but that really started to really push home in two, and it
yeah,
started to became a more of a home port rather than a console port.
yeah. Very true, very true. But the gameplay was that brilliant mix of arcade, but also you had to have skill. You knew how to if you see your opponent running in, you knew how to then lob the ball to the back of the court, or if he's coming one side to cut across court with a
Yeah.
power shot. You had to know how to play it, but that had that arcade feel. That was quick, fast, brilliant action, and you knew if you lost a point. That's one good thing about this game. It wasn't through bad gameplay. It was your fault if you lost a point. It was
Uh,
all down to skill. So clever and so well made.
we'd had other tennis games historically. Obviously, could argue the
Oh, there was
first.
loads in this era as
You
well.
could
What
argue the
centre court
first
hard
tennis.
hitter and loads.
Yeah, you could argue the first tennis game ever was Pong. I mean, there are people,
Yeah.
that
Oh
would
yeah.
argue that there is older games than that, and I think we've covered that. Me and OG covered that on one of the early shows. But I think for argument's sake, let's say it's Pong. There's always been tennis games, and I think maybe in the 16-bit you had a couple of belters, but we were always kind of left hoping for something. And then Virtua Tennis appears in the arcade and just seemingly overnight solves every gameplay function issue I ever had. And actually then ends up turning up on the Dreamcast, making you feel like an absolute player.
Hmm.
It looked good on that console. The subsequent PS2 ports also look good, don't get me wrong, but yeah,
Weren't the same for me. Weren't the same. That was
no.
that's virtual tennis is Dreamcast for me.
I
Um,
just don't think there's really any more an iconic image than I think Sega ran an ad of like the maybe the Dreamcast controller on a freshly cut tennis lawn with some like,
mm,
bright green tennis balls. Just that sort of iconic grey, all of it mixing together and then presenting like that. It's like, yeah,
and the balls had Sega Sports written on them, and
something like that. But that
yeah,
whole sort of aesthetic they had going on, I've talked time immemorial about the Dreamcast era aesthetic, but there was nothing like it. And
no.
there hasn't been anything as curated or as executed as that. It
Mm.
really nailed everything on. It was
I
a
always always
great
thought
time.
I always thought their advertising was very, very similar to when they used to advertise arcade machines in your magazines. They
Yeah.
had that real arcade feel to them, where you really thought you had a really high gen arcade machine at home. You know, with your crazy taxis and your Virtua Tennis, and
Mm.
they advertised it the same. It was so unique but so special at the same time. You know, so many good adverts.
I'll be honest,
Absolutely
mate.
brilliant.
The Dreamcast era was a particular highlight for me. It just came at the right time. Sadly, but positively, the Dreamcast didn't sell very well, so it always felt, and I think probably Roast Space Monk feels a bit like this, I don't know, but it kind of felt like it was your personal experience.
Mm,
Not many other people had one, so then it made even more personal experiences like Metropolis Street Racer or Shenmue because you were having them happen to you
mm,
and they weren't really happening to anybody. They were obviously happening to lots of people, right?
mm,
But you didn't really ever bump into a Dreamcast user in the wild, so you barely even saw one in a game shop even. So when you brought this game home, it did feel like you were unpacking something a little bit unique in a way.
mm,
I think if the Dreamcast had actually took off in the UK, specifically gangbusters, I don't think you'd have had that feeling. So I don't know. We all want consoles to succeed, but sometimes like these private gaming moments are the best ones, even though it means death for the company that's
mm.
supplying the console.
Yeah, very true. Just one more. I was going to more speak about for you, really. So I would imagine you've played it. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2.
I've not played the sequel.
Oh, haven't you?
No.
So that must have been, we were talking about the first one, but yeah, that was
Played the
Dreamcast,
first one
wasn't
a lot. I really like it. It was on Dreamcast. Soul
it?
Reaver 2 came to PS2, so I don't know if this is a PS1, a PC release that you've
Ah,
sort of
okay.
dragged in
Okay.
here, because there are
Yeah.
some PC games in this list.
Mm,
I presume maybe that's what's happened here, but either way, it continues the story. It's well received. I've obviously talked to her about her quite a lot recently. Is Amy Hennig as well, obviously
mm,
involved. Um, Yeah, I can't really speak for it to be honest with you, but
mm,
it's a game I always keep meaning. I've got it on PlayStation 2, and I'm just waiting for that cold. I know you've got it on. If you got the Evercade one of them both,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
so you've got that sat glistening in your back pocket, and I keep meaning to put two on PS2.
Yeah.
On official hardware. I've just not quite had that rainy enough afternoon.
Yeah. I also noticed Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. That was the start of that series, which has been
Yeah, I
quite
was gonna.
successful.
Again, I've never played that, so I keep meaning to. I think it's something that I'd quite enjoy. My
Yeah, I
daughter
think
likes
so.
those likes Leighton, so I think maybe the next.
They even done a crossover, didn't they? Phoenix Wright and Leighton crossover, where they fight each other in court, and yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Okay. Well, guess what
yeah.
she's getting?
Well, the funny thing is, my wife has played, apart from the last Leighton game on the Switch, she's played and completed them all. She hasn't got round to the last one yet, although we have got it. But I then did get her
Well,
because
you're
she
not
liked
Leighton
them.
in the latest one, are you? You're his sister or
Yeah,
someone.
daughter, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I go, well, I say that a friend of mine at work found Phoenix Wright in the charity shop, boxed and complete for £1. I come in and went, oh, yeah, is this any good to you? I just found it in charity shop. I thought for £1, I'll just get it for you. And I was like, yep, I'll take that for £1. And
Wow.
she tried it and she couldn't get on with it.
Oh,
Well, she loved the Laytons, but couldn't get on with those. So yeah, whether they're
a
that
little bit
much different,
different.
yeah,
It
it's
is a little bit different.
more sort of court based and evidence based in it rather than sort of
Like Leighton to me feels like an evolution of, say, a point and click adventure,
mm, yeah, it's a fair point.
whereas Phoenix Wright Attorney is more like a choose your own adventure book.
Mm, yeah,
Like this or that. It's this, right, okay, then that. And then it's more that way, this than
yeah,
that. Whereas Leighton is scour around the screen till you find something, click, what can I do with it? Click, click,
yeah,
click, click, click. Can I click, 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 click? Yep, move forward.
yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
That's
But
really simplified both of their gameplay techniques, but just
mm,
for explanation's sake.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so there was there was a hell of a selection there for us to have been playing at the time, depending on what console you had, but there seemed to be a bit out for everything. Um, from sort of GameCube to PS2 to Dreamcast, there was plenty there to pick from, and obviously we were round about the launch of the Xbox as well. So yeah, a great selection there, one of the best we've had. But I suppose we better head on over to the news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the back pages and the gaming mags, and even delved deep into the interweb to bring you what was the latest stories in October 2001. First up, this is from Eurogamer. Did you want me to go first there, George? Or
As you please, my good friend, as you please.
this is titled Rest in Peace SNK. Much love software developer goes bust. This is by Tom Bramwell, the former editor in chief of Eurogamer. SNK has closed its doors for good. The company whose obscure £100 beat 'em ups sold a ridiculous arcade orientated console called the Neo Geo for years, and who most recently won the hearts of gaming fans everywhere with the Neo Geo Pocket Color handheld, is no more. Effectively, SNK are the victim of Nintendo's portable monopoly. The Game Boy Color crushed the Neo Geo Pocket Color, despite arguably superior software lines on the smaller console. Games like Metal Slug, SNK vs. Capcom, and Evolution sold the console to thousands of hardcore gamers, but evidently not enough. It was bad enough when European and American NGPC operations were canned, but now the whole company, it's just too much to bear. This means the end of a number of great SNK series, including Metal Slug, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, and countless others. And what of the Capcom deal? We don't know yet. Capcom vs SNK2 has just been released on the PS2 in America and is due out on the 30th of November here. But what's next? Capcom versus receivers? Ooh, that's harsh. We'll leave you with the roughly translated parting message from SNK and all of its fans for all of its fans and customers. It's with the deepest grief that in autumn of 2001, SNK will close the company history in its business. It was all of your favour and encouragement which made our passion running to make better games for SNK fans. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank every one of you for your continuous help and assistance rendered to SNK since its incorporation in Japan in July 1978. Without your support, SNK Corporation would not have been possible throughout 23 years of operation. With all our heartfelt gratitude, thank you once again. Yeah, I found this interesting. This was when SNK, I mean, they've sort of back now in different guises. They came back when they done that SNK Neo Geo Gold edition they done a few years ago, which wasn't that well received. Sort of a handheld that plugs into a console that looks like an AES that weren't quite there. And they're into. You still get SNK games published now. Whether that's the same people in charge of that or someone who's bought the licenses, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, how sad it was because I mean, us in the UK is late 90s or early to mid 90s. Sorry, excuse me, everyone's dream was to have a Neo Geo. You watched them on Games Master, you'd see them on shows, and just thought, "Oh, look at the graphics, how good they are." But the £500-600 price tag and £200 a game was enough to put anyone off at the time. But sad to see that people, they were a company that really tried to push to get the best in the home console market, but
I
obviously priced a lot of people out.
Is that how you remember it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. That was a dream of mine having Neo Geo as a kid.
It was a dream of mine. I don't see a company that was pushing. I just see a company that just thought it was easier to slap an arcade cabinet into a plastic shell and charge
Mm.
you for the privilege. That
Well,
was cool and all.
well, they aimed at the hardcore market. People wanted
Yeah,
arcade machines at home, and they need just about delivered an arcade system in your home. But
they absolutely
you had to be a
delivered on that.
connoisseur, and you paid for it. So as
You had to be a connoisseur and you paid for it. And out of all those great and unwashed down at the arcade, pumping money into the SNK machines 20p a time, how many of those little Herberts do you think had 600 quid?
yeah, I know. Yes.
So it was a bit flawed. I do take exception. Like, yeah, I guess you could argue that the Neo Geo Pocket Color is very capable. I've got one. It's not better than the Game Boy Color, I'm afraid, Thomas.
Mm,
It's not. I also think that the games that were on there, he argues, Metal Slug's all right, looks a bit washed out. Obviously, it's not like any of its bigger brothers, and a lot of the other games, mate. I don't know. Maybe anytime they want to give it a go, give it a try. I got one out of curiosity, really, just because it had some ability to tie up with the maybe Sonic Adventure 1 or 2.
mm,
Um, but I think when you actually look into what that looks like, it ain't worth it.
mm,
SNK are a great company, and they've brought us some really awesome franchises: Metal Slug, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, and as it says in the article, countless others. But in terms of hardware, when the arcades started to die, because they hadn't really established themselves a route to the home market other than
mm,
through these quite expensive items, and the Neo Geo Pocket Color, yeah, was priced a little bit more favorably, but then sat on completely the other end of the spectrum. Like you're a hardcore gamer, yeah, I can't quite afford, well, I can't afford anything close to a Neo Geo, but the Neo Geo Pocket Color, that's not arcade in my pocket.
mm,
So I don't quite know what they're hoping to achieve as a brand. I think, like you say, they're hoping to be the Rolls-Royce, the connoisseur. But obviously, the way the market's developed, there was never going to be a place for them to do that, to be that brand. I think the writing was probably on the wall by 2001. I would say
mm.
most of their franchise is starting to look a little bit creaky in the arcades by 2001. Everybody loves Metal Slug. Everybody does. But when that's set next to Crazy Taxi or 18 Wheeler or Pod Racer, that's the era arcade cabinet we're talking about. It looks a little bit old hat.
Yeah, it's only so many times you can play it. I mean, there's like the four or three or four entrants into it, apart from you've got the tactics nowadays. But I mean, and then that started spilling out into SNK collections on PS2, blah, 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 which is
Yeah.
probably what they done after this move, licensing themselves out. Yeah, I see your point. I mean, this very similar sort of thing happened later on down the line with, or sorry, similar era time with Panasonic 3DO.
Yeah, I
Like,
just want to underline by saying I am a fan of the product. Like I would give my
mm,
right arm to own a Neo Geo. I'm
mm,
lucky enough to have a Neo Geo Pocket Color. I'm owning that now, picking these things out the remnants of what's left. I
mm,
wasn't there day and date because I couldn't afford to be.
yeah, exactly. I never, I never knew anyone that had one.
No.
Definitely not. The only time I got to see it was, like I say, on Games Master or someone playing it on a TV show. Other
And it
than
was
that,
always hailed as like the big bad. But I'll be honest with you, when you go back and look now, like the difference really between it and a SNES game, the lines
oh,
are
I
a bit.
don't. It depends what game you pick. Some of the games were doing some like Samurai Showdown. They would zoom in on a character on certain things with the pixels coming in and out, and you think, yeah, you aren't doing that on a SNES. It was looking really good, and there was,
Look, I'm not denying that, but really for the layman,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? For the layman, and you're not playing Street Fighter 2 on your Neo Geo.
exactly. That's another thing I was going to
So then
say.
you need a SNES or a Mega Drive.
Yeah, that's
And
another thing I was
then
going to say. That was so popular, Street Fighter 2.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
And then you get into the plethora of other games that exist around it, because if you've got one, then you might as well. What are you going to do in Neo Geo? Go into town and buy that last game of the six you didn't have?
yeah. And I think their last sort of try out. It was with the Neo Geo CD, which had absolutely agonising load times on it. By just
Again,
and
I've looked at those and been tempted.
I
Of course
have,
I
but
have.
it's just
Because doesn't that CD one come with a little handheld built into it?
no, no. You're thinking of the Neo Geo Gold, which they released in like 2010, 15, something like that, and they made a handheld Neo Geo which you popped into an AES, and then that would play as a home console. But the emulation and stuff on it wasn't great. They're quite
So it's like a
expensive now.
Switch.
They didn't sell very well. Yeah, it was a weird sort of hybrid, but the original Neo Geo CD was literally I think they tried to make it cheaper by literally getting the AES ROMs and some of the MVS, putting them on CD, so that was more affordable for people to buy rather than making these toaster shaped cartridges. But like I say, I have played on the Neo Geo CD a few times, and yeah, the load times are agonisingly slow on that system. I think they had a really basic CD drive in there. And yeah, I think that might have been the final nail in the coffin for them, and they sort of then
By that
became a
time, though, they're
publisher
just
after that.
dining out on their name. I don't really feel like either of
Very
those two
true.
units that you mentioned are actually something that they were thinking was going to bring the brand back. It was like, oh, if you never could afford one the first time round, well, bankrupt yourself as a grown-up now. And it's like, well, what for these 6 games?
Yeah, and also, I mean, early 90s SNK was the mark to hit. They were the company that done the arcade ports. Like you say, early 2000s, mate, we're playing on a PS2. What's your hardware? Do you know what I mean? It's gone,
Exactly.
but then it's gone, but they haven't,
The
they've
industry
been
had
left
already
behind.
bifurcated by that point, and the consoles,
Yeah,
the arcade scene had kind of maxed out, and it was dying or
definitely.
dead. Home console, they had left themselves nowhere to go because they'd thrown themselves so far down that arcade route. There was
Mm,
no reversing out of that. But it's a
no,
shame. It is a shame.
it's a shame.
But let them be, a hat tip to an era long gone, friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah.
Up next, RGT, also from Eurogamer, also by the
Mm,
youthful-looking Tom Bramwell, former editor-in-chief of the aforementioned publication. PS2 gets first online game.
mm,
Um, I think the internet might have glitched the second part of the headline, so I'm not going to read that out. This is
no.
how far back we're going for you guys, so just bear in mind that we are,
I got this on dial-up and a
as you said that bizarrely, I read the only word on that piece of literature I've got to read, and it was the word dial-up. And it was like, this is
some sort of
weird.
Darren Brown stuff going on here.
Yeah, you've been Darren Brown and me since the Pastor era. But anyway, let's get to the news because the flashback listener's not one to be kept waiting. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 will be the PlayStation 2's first online game, publisher Activision has revealed. Larry Goldberg, executive VP of Activision Worldwide Studios, said in a statement that by introducing an online component to the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise, we're not only upping the ante in the action sports category, but in console gaming on the whole. For once, we agree the game will use GameSpy as its matchmaking service, and will support the Sony Ethernet stroke modem adapter when it launches, as well as a number of third-party peripherals, including USB Ethernet adapters and USB modems. The game will use peer-to-peer networking rather than popular client stroke dedicated server style of PC games like Quake. It's interesting to note that scant few details are included in this announcement of which ISP will be handling the modem dial-up, or how much it will cost. We can only assume that it will be a non-subscription 0845 dial-up service. The Ethernet situation is even less obvious, with no news whatsoever on when that adapter will launch in this country. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is due out in November 23rd in the UK and Europe.
Mm. Yeah, I thought this is interesting. I never realised that the PS2's first online game was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
I don't think it was.
Oh, really? What do you think it was?
Probably SOCOM.
That'd be interesting to do a little bit of digging in. I imagine if maybe this was the first game to have online capabilities,
Maybe this
But
was the first game that they thought about putting it in, but
mm,
because the aforementioned modem had not made it to market by that point in time, they stripped it clean out. I've not played Tony Hawk's on PS2,
mm.
so I'm not sure as I would even know. But
Yeah, I didn't even know it had an online element, to be honest. Um, but very interesting that they were
no,
even.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was the first one to feature a multiplayer game.
Yep.
There you go.
Mm, yeah, which is surprising, but I never even
I would have put
remember.
money on it being SOCOM, but apparently no, this does get the title for being the first online game. Look, mate, quite what, who, or how you were playing with on PS2 in 2001, I'll leave that up to you. Um,
And imagine it
well,
ran well.
hey,
Jeez.
do you know what? It probably did. I
Yeah, I suppose
never
there's
had a
some.
problem with online in the Dreamcast era. It was
Mm,
flawless, and that was dial-up. It was. Um, this would have been the same unless you had what's it called? Because you used to be able to get two modems for the Dreamcast. One
oh
was for
yeah,
dial-up, and the other one was for like broadband setting, as it is now, the modern day
yeah,
way
yeah.
of doing it. So I don't know out the box what the PS2 supported.
But I know because there's a lot of people now who are still keeping servers alive for PS2 and PS3. Be interesting to see if there's still anything on for this. I
To be
doubt it.
honest,
It
mate,
tends to be shooters, but
it's crossed my mind because that little adapter isn't worth that much.
mm,
You could stick it wouldn't even matter what hard drive you put in it, because let's face it, anything's quicker than 2001. So you could stick your old PS3, PS4 hard drive in that bad boy,
yeah, yeah,
format it to FAT32, stick it in, stick an Ethernet cable in the back of it, and cross your fingers and hope for the best.
mm,
I think there are some sort of probably Reddit pages and whatnot about the if you go to your internet settings, your DNS and your proxy and all that sort of
mm,
garbage about what you need to put in. But yeah, I think the PS2 is technically still online. Dreamcast has a similar hobbyist
mm,
support, I think, to keep it there. I think I've seen a few, one or two videos about similar activities for the original Xbox. So,
mm,
yeah, I mean, here we are in 2026 critically analysing what's left of that era. And here we are in 2001 at the other end of it, looking for what the future might look like. Little did little Timmy know when he put Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 in with that thing he argued for his mum for all Christmas and didn't really even know what it was, that he was right at the white hot edge of online console
yeah,
gaming.
yeah,
Well, kind of, or at least Sony's push of it. And yeah, he was there. Now, where he is now, God only knows. He's probably playing Fortnite with his kids or probably a bit of a Warzone player. But yeah, they've been online gaming since as soon as they could, I guess. I mean, obviously, people were playing around with PC and Dreamcast, and obviously,
mm,
as we'll talk about at the back end of the show, the launch of the original Xbox, obviously, it made it even easier to get online. And some
mm.
would argue, obviously, Xbox paved the way, but here's PS2 popping its periscope up and sticking a hard drive in its back passage. You've got to admire him for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't think I realised for the first 2 or 3 years of ownership for PS2 that online was even capable. And then I knew a friend of mine bought a original Xbox and said, "Oh, you ought to come around and see this new console from Microsoft." Blah blah, blah. I went around and played it. I thought, "Oh, that's nice. It's big. That's a big boy, that console." But it was good. And he's like, "Yeah, you can play online." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you can play online. You can just plug in and go, and there's games you can play and Halo and bits and pieces." I was like, "No way." He said, "Yeah, you can link them up and play." And I was like, "God, I wish PS2 did that." He said, "Well, it does do that. You got to buy the adapter." And I was like, "I didn't even know there was an
Every
adapter
week,
for it."
RGT, you kind of regale these moments where someone
Mm,
said, "Oh yeah, you just plug that in the front of the control in the console, man. That's how you
mm,
play the games." And you're like,
mm.
"Bloody hell!" Like the
It's how I
Joy-Con.
learned. It's how I learned from everyone else.
It's got it on the attract reel. Like, yeah, I've nearly finished this one, love. I'll be in for my tea in a minute. Like, boom, yeah, I've done it. It's finished.
Yeah, it's just things like that. I was just so into just playing the games. A lot of the stuff I never researched. I didn't buy many magazines at that period, so I didn't really know a lot about it. No, I didn't. No, I didn't buy many magazines at all in that period. Hence why I'm buying them now for this show.
God,
Um,
mate, I bought anything with a bloody video game logo on it in the newsagents.
well, the problem is we're a bit rural here. The newsagents didn't really stock them, so unless I was going on the monthly shop with my
I
parents.
subbed in the end.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
You were hardcore, you see. I wasn't.
I was. I had a subscription to official Dreamcast magazine,
Oh,
which I then rolled into a subscription for official Xbox magazine. And
mm.
for the longest time, obviously my life's got tipped up a bit side down at a few points along the way, and I had a full run from like issue maybe one or two of the official Xbox magazine all the way up until like 2013 of 360.
Wow. Did you keep them all? Or?
I tried to.
Mm.
I had the demo discs for every single one of them as well. They all
Oh,
went in the bin, I think.
oh, shame. Yeah,
You
shame. But
say a shame, I agree. But considering the probably 2 tonny bags I could fill with those magazines that I've collected up retrospectively, although it's, probably great for this show, I shouldn't think my roof is very grateful. And
no, magazines are a back killer. I do have quite a substantial collection of magazines, and many a times I've thought, do I just bin these? Because storing them, keeping them, displaying them, everything is a pain with magazines.
keeping them readable.
Yeah, so yeah, the only reason I haven't is because this show started, so I've actually collected more, but they're so handy for it. But yes, that was interesting seeing Tony Hawk's Pro Scat 3 and quite surprising. Good quiz question that, Digital Monkery, for your Let's Get Quizzical on the UCP Discord. That'll be an
Yeah.
absolute, yeah, be a
As
brilliant
long
one,
as they
that.
don't listen to this show, so we should be sorted.
They don't. Um, our final bit of news, and for the hat trick this week, Tom Bramwell back in the net, header, left foot, right foot. He's got a hat trick. Also from Eurogamer. This one's titled "The One That Got Away." Sony comments on release date of elusive street racer. He obviously didn't know.
Mm.
He obviously didn't know what the game was about when he read this. Um, Sony has popped its head up to condemn This Is London.com over its The Getaway release date speculation. The London Web Journal claimed The Getaway was on course for an autumn 2002 release, but Sony says otherwise. As far as anyone knows, it's still penciled in for May. Sony is trying its hardest to avoid yet more Getaway scandal. Last year, developers of the game were caught out trying to pass impressive renders off as screenshots. The London
Come
based
on,
crime.
Mike.
Yeah, come on, Mike. No need for that. The London based crime caper still looks stunning.
He was like 15.
Yeah. But word is it's over budget, overstaffed, and way behind schedule. Landmarks are apparently a moot point, but Sony aims to keep throwing money at it until the fire goes out. With Bizarre Creations' Xbox extravaganza Project Gotham Racing looking like the better game by a mile, Sony may wish to forget the Getaway even exists. I'm not quite sure why he's comparing them two games because at no point was the Getaway a racer. Um, and comparing it,
They're city-based driving games. I think that's the length and breadth of his
yeah,
comparison.
I suppose so. But other than that, they're completely different genres. But maybe they didn't know at the time. I
No,
put
they
this,
knew. They
I,
knew.
I put this in here at the time because one, I thought, yeah, I don't. It seemed quite random how he was describing the game, and two, I know you've recently played this again, um, so it lines up well. I did remember there being a bit of trouble with the getaway, but not quite as much as is explaining here. I didn't realise.
There was a
Almost
lot of
seems,
furore at the time. I do
yeah,
remember it. It was much delayed. Often talked about I would never get here. It's never going to look like that. And to be fair, it did get here. It didn't look quite. I mean, good luck to you finding those renders. Good luck to you, because they were probably only in mags, very early internet.
mm,
I think that you'd have to be in the Wayback Machine and fingers crossed to find that. But, or maybe if someone's deep dived it on YouTube, maybe as a still on there. But I think the getaway ended up hitting. Um, I think, obviously the getaway came out after Metropolis Street Racer, but I think, its take on London to me is probably more comparable.
mm,
I think PGR is an Xbox game. As you say, RGT very different. No need to program oncoming traffic. No need to program traffic flows, no need
or
to
even a
program.
story.
Well, we've not even got there. The list of things that we've already got to is enough to obviously show a
Yeah,
very clear delineation between the two development cycles. Um, yeah, I don't know. Every now and then we get an article in here, don't we? And I'm not quite sure. There was a lot of talk, as you say. There was some controversy around the Getaway. It was one of those titles that I think got the equivalent of clicks. It certainly sold mags back in the day because I think
yeah,
PS2 owners were, looking for something a little bit, sexy. The Getaway was a Sony kind of developed project that got the official magazine headlines that looked good. And I think, do you know what? When the dust has settled and the smoke has cleared, I have played it, as you say, more recently, and there's lots to like.
yeah.
I, if we're taking Tom at his word and we're comparing PGR to the Getaway, I would say that the PGR is a more fun experience.
Hmm.
Only because it's less involved. There's no story. It's just some fun time racing. The Getaway's driving sections aren't so fun time because they're through the middle of London, which is a pain at the best of
Yeah.
times.
And it's also a lot of brutal gangster story based London, almost movie style game,
That's
which,
that's actually way more brutal than I
yeah,
actually ever remembered or gave it credit for. I don't know whether I've softened as I've got older, but there were a few bits in there. I was like, wow.
that must have hit hard at the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I'm a fan of both games. If I had to throw my hat in one to be divisive, because that's what sells the internet these days, I would say it'd be PGR. Although I would be a bit torn.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I
I
mean,
think the controversy about thisislondon.com having speculation about the release date, a web journal.
odd because he's actually reading it.
Well, the internet was a weird place then.
Yeah. And also, I think standard gaming journalists from the outset, once they first get in the first whiff of the Getaway and what they were doing, were quite against it. They wanted to make, we've got this the horse's mouth from interviewing Mike Race, but they wanted to make a playable movie. You didn't have your health on the screen or anything like that. You played a gangster based, like I say, brutal movie. And for the time of doing that, they were way ahead of their time for what they done with the game.
Yeah,
Apps,
if anyone wants to listen to that, obviously the main show that we do, the Unofficial Controller podcast, this is a spin-off channel of that. If you go back and look for the Mike Rouse interviews, you'll find them on YouTube,
mm,
Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you want to go and get your podcast. Have a little look-see for the Mike Rouse episode. You'll find it very rewarding if you want to know like a proper deep dive about the Getaway, its development, his role in it as well,
yeah,
RGT.
yeah,
That's the place to go.
mm,
Wish we'd had this then, because
yes,
what was all this about, Mike?
yeah,
Shall I
yeah,
send a picture to him?
yeah.
No.
That'd been nice to see what
It's the last
he,
thing he wants to be disturbed by, isn't it? Me. What's all this? Well, a news
yeah,
article from 2001. Are you all right? Who
yeah,
hurt you?
yeah.
No one, Michael.
Get some sleep, George. We spoke about this before. Okay, sorry, Mike.
Well,
Um,
that's what I sound like.
but
Wow.
that'd have been nice to see it from giving him this article and seeing it from the inside. Were they
Yes.
feeling the pressure? Were they really under
Oh,
the
they were under the
yeah?
cosh, yeah.
They were probably on the old crunch time for quite a few weeks, I would imagine, to get this done. Because I remember it being an expensive game because they were trying something so different. But yeah, very interesting there. Hope you like those stories. Three quite different stories, but very of the time. From the demise of SNK to the first PS2 online game when we were really starting to see that sort of thing then start rearing up and paved the way for where we are today to the Getaway being compared to a street racing game and obviously not a fan of the Getaway was Tom Bramwell, but hope he played it since then and actually enjoyed it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed those stories. But now it's time for what we affectionately call Stingray's Boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy for Battle for Endor is some of the new releases for November 2001. Spring Stop Wattle. Whoa. Have you seen Ray this week, George?
I'm seeing Ray as the ghost effigy of the Dreamcast and Sega's burst bubble and memories.
Mm.
He's happy, but he's sad. He's smiling, but he's crying inside. He's not a man. He's just like a constant shifting cloud of visions of like Dreamcast, Panzer Dragoon. Sega does what Nintendo don't. I'm seeing gore in Mortal Kombat, and then I'm just seeing his eyes just say the word closed for business.
Oh, wow.
I look at little Sting. He's equally come as disappointment wrapped in happiness. He's come as a Game Gear.
Wow. Wow. What an image that is. Absolutely brilliant. What an image that is. Uh,
Did I say he's come as or come in?
come as. Um,
He's come in a Game Gear. I say that because he's small and he can fit in it.
right. Hmm.
So he's not gone and made a suit that he can wear. He's literally just hollowed the inside of a Game Gear out and worn it.
Wow. He's small.
Well, yeah, he's not full grown.
He's definitely not.
And I tell you one thing, mate, the gear's cavernous.
Yeah, true. It's not the TARDIS. I have heard
It
that.
truly is. I've opened up one before, and there was one of those massive 6 foot long phosphorus tubes. If I can't fit
Wow.
an 8-year-old child in one of them, something
Hmm.
ain't right.
Wow. I wondered how they backlit the screen.
Seriously, that is actually how they backlit the screen.
Wow. 6 foot phosphorus tube.
It wasn't 6 foot, obviously. It's
Six
scale.
inches.
Mm. Anyway, big enough to get a kid in. I
Yeah.
don't quite know. You looked a bit nervous there.
Very, very nervous. I keep thinking, oh, he's thinking we're on the UCP. Um,
What did I say that even made you nervous?
not even going back there. Um, well, for me, I think Ray's a bit confused this week. There's so many good games. He's turned up in like a Mad Max beach buggy from like Smuggler's. Oh, he's got out. He looks like Claude from GTA 3.
Oh, wow.
Where's Oh, Wayne's in the passenger seat. What's he? Hang on, let's just see when he. Oh, he looks like a little Pikmin. Oh wow, he's must have taken you ages to paint him red like that. My
That's how
God.
he fits in a Game Gear.
Yeah. The weird thing is, he's actually used like exterior paint, so I don't even know if they're going to get it off him. I mean, I think they've stained him red, but he does look like a Pikmin. It's very good, but he's definitely sharing a bit of every game that we've been picking out here today. But George, what is going to be your first pick out of Ray's boot?
There can be only one, can't there?
Right?
In fact, I may even get Mardy and not pull anything else out, but the one game I am going to pull out, my handsome little Suffolkshire, Leicestershire friend, Suffolk, Leicestershire,
Right.
if that's the county, it is Shenmue 2.
I did think you might go for Shenmue 2. Um, when I saw this list, I thought that's definitely going to be your baby because
But there is
Dreamcast.
so many. I mean, I'm whenever you've picked out your one good friend, and I'm eager to hear what your. Oh, so I'm allowed two.
Yeah, you can pick another one straight away if you like.
I'm going to just completely blow your mind and leave you doing most of the carrying because it's a toss up between. No, I'm going to go with it. Project Gotham Racing and an Xbox Ray. I'll take an Xbox.
Wow, you're definitely going all in. Um,
Well, you get that game at launch if you ain't got the console. What are you doing?
mm, I'm going to go with Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. Absolutely fantastic game in the GameCube. Still one of the best looking games of the generation, definitely on the GameCube. Um, First one obviously was on the N64, and then they done this second one, and then they did do a third, but I think the second was where it peaked. Absolutely brilliant game. If you've got a GameCube and you haven't played this, play it. I mean, it's so good. I know we always say this about games. Space is easy to emulate and that, but the ships and everything look so good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that game. Um, if I'm going to pick another one, I am going to go with. Oh, there's so many here. I mean, a few we can mention. I'll probably go with Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Um, I remember vaguely remember playing this, but even then, I remember thinking the graphics were so good. That sort of game didn't really seem to be anything else like it at the time. That really introduced me to stealth and
Oh, are these dates right? Because this feels totally upside down to me, but I'm on board for it. I just can't believe that Agent Under Fire came out at the same time as like Metal Gear. How dare it?
yeah, I know. It's just hence why everyone speaks about Metal Gear Solid 2 and not Agent Under Fire.
I
But
was playing Agent Under Fire though.
I played it later than that, a lot later down the
Do you
line
know
out of
what
the
I was
bargain
actually
bin. But
playing in this very moment because I got it at launch. I don't think these dates are maybe quite correct, but Golden Sun.
yeah, what on your Game Boy Advance?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've never played that, but I've heard very good things about it.
I really quite enjoyed it. I think the lead character and it's called Isaac from memory.
Did they do a couple of these, didn't they? Was it two or three they done?
There might be three of them now. I only really played that, and it was like, that felt peak kind of 16-bit RPG to me. Golden Sun's a particularly good one. I've slapped it on more recently, and I be honest with you, I don't really feel like it's aged particularly well.
Oh, really?
The opening feels a bit kind of, I don't know. These games, I suppose, didn't have to compete with your phone, did they?
Hmm.
And it rumbled on a little bit. I do remember at the time it rumbling on a little bit. I'm just like, just let me play the game for God's sake.
Well, I
As
just double checked. It was out 12th of November in America, and it came out in February in UK
that
and
feels more
Europe.
like it.
Yeah,
That's when I bought it.
yeah. But again, really love series as well. I'll tell you another one I'm going to pick out as well, if I may, and that's World Rally Championship. Um,
Yeah,
what a great game! I put hours and hours into this, and that WRC that then sort of obviously spawned into Colin McRae and bits and pieces as well. But the two games are absolutely brilliant. And WRC, I really enjoyed, and I at the time felt really realistic. Even when your brakes used to squeak and your co-driver giving you your instructions, and
yeah, it was banging.
yeah, really, really good. Very, very addictive game as well. But give you that, Rally was at a peak then as well, so it was really good timing. Um,
Another Dreamcast banger in Res. Um,
yeah, definitely.
just
Yeah,
shout out to those original Xbox games as well, getting a launch. So we've got
yep,
Amped, we've got Dead or Alive 3, we've got my aforementioned Project Gotham from the other page, got Fusion Frenzy, got Halo. I think Mad Dash Racing is one that I'm picking out here. I do believe that was we've got Munch's Odyssey, NFL
yeah,
Fever. These are the, don't forget, listeners, these are the American releases, but we're here
yep.
for our brothers as well. What looks like a game called Kabuki Warriors. I do believe, is that the last one?
We
Or
had
did I
Fusion
see
Frenzy
another
was a
one?
pack in, and Halo.
Yeah,
And
I
Fusion.
thought I saw another one at the top.
Oh, there was a.
Maybe not. Maybe that original Burnout was also there, or I can't quite remember now, but I'm definitely confident about those other ones.
Yeah, yeah. A good.
GameCube must not have been very old either, because obviously getting Rogue Leader and Luigi's is and Pikmin is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Uh,
Luigi's Mansion, Super Monkey Ball, I believe, was on there
this
as
is like
well.
the dawn of the next era, isn't it, really?
Yeah, there was so
PS2
many
just hitting its
games.
sort of, I would say, stride with your GTAs, etc.
Oh,
Oh,
we
here's
had.
another
Yeah,
Xbox launch game, Azuric, Rise of Herethia.
and Amped as well, freestyle snowboarding.
Yeah, I shouted him out, but that's a
Oh,
great
sorry.
series. You're all good.
Simpsons
Amped 1
Road
and 2
Rage.
I loved on a original Xbox, and
Mm.
Amped 3 to me is just a pure money shot.
Yeah, I
That
remember you always
game
keep
is
saying to me about playing those.
Amped 3. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've ever played that.
I've got it, but I haven't played it. But
It's the best snowboarding game you probably ever play.
really,
Yep.
what better than SSX?
For me, Amp 3 is particularly attractive because the way it does its animations between
Mm,
the levels,
mm.
there's something about that product, the slickness of it. It's almost got like Persona 5 slickness to it.
Oh wow,
I'm overhyping it.
I'll give it a go though.
I think you should. Amp 1 and 2 are a little bit drier version of it.
Mm,
Very dry, do.
um, we've also got Simpsons Road Rage, which is obviously there was a bit of rage there because they ended up having to go to court with Sega over the Crazy Taxi clone,
Yeah, and then
which was settled.
they followed that up with another clone.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never really liked Road Rage that much, I have to admit. Like Hit and Run to me is that's the real deal.
yeah. I'm with you all the way on that. I mean, Road Rage was okay, but if you wanted to play that sort of game, you play Crazy Taxi. You know, it was just a reskinned Crazy Taxi, really just ripped off.
Yeah, and it
But
was
Hit and Run worked in the Simpsons world. That was a nice way of driving around Springfield and doing missions and bits, which was quite good fun.
in a way Road Rage does. I think Road Rage, with the benefit of time, would definitely sit on the good Simpsons game pile. I just
Mm.
don't think of the vehicular driving Simpsons games. Obviously, this is it's not close.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. Just a shout out, we had Pro Evolution Soccer. We all know how well that went. Absolutely brilliant. We spoke about that enough on the show. What else do we have? Oh, SmackDown, Just Bring It. Any good game that, George? I'm not a wrestling gamer, so I don't know, but I would imagine you've
Yeah,
played
again,
it.
I think SmackDown Just Bring It, I believe, was basically, I think there's Know Your Role, Just Bring It, and another one. These were the sort of second, these were the third and fourth. I can't remember which exactly this one is. I think it might be the one before. I can't remember now.
Mm.
Either which way, to me, this one's just an evolution of the PS1 games.
Okay.
This franchise didn't really hit, and I like the PS1 games, particularly the second one. I didn't really vibe with the PS2 versions for that reason. They just didn't hit with me until we got to, you see, in this era, I was off playing WWE Raw or WWF Raw and Raw 2 on Xbox because they felt a little bit more of what I wanted. It was slower,
Mm.
more tactical, no mercy.
Mm.
Both of those games broken as all hell. Didn't really return to like the wrestling game arena full time until the aforementioned Here Comes the Pain that I talked about a
Okay, yeah.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, in all honesty, I spent probably a little bit more time than I should have done playing its sequel.
Did you?
Mm,
Did you have fun though? That's the main thing.
so much.
There you go then. There's no, don't say that you played a little bit
It's
more time than
always
you
a
should have
grind
done.
when you not start a new career because your character's low statted. And even if you go to the single player mode and just try and practice with your character, you win the match. You're like, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, in career mode, everyone's bounced back down to 23 stats. So when you first start playing it, like, why is he so slow? Like, what am I doing wrong? And like, matches are hard. Like, you have to work them.
Yeah.
But top tip, if you just spend your money, don't spend the money on getting bra and panties for the divas. Don't do it. It's tempting. Just buy the experience points out of the shop so you can level up quicker,
Mm.
and then get the bra and panties.
Top tip. Uh, I also see Harry Potter and, well, Sorcerer's Stone as it was to our American brothers, but it was actually Philosopher's Stone over here. Game Boy Color one. Now, everyone think,
Yeah,
oh, that's going to be terrible on Game Boy Color, but if I remember rightly, that's like a turn-based RPG on the Game Boy
yeah,
Color,
again, it was
which
the
is
era of
actually
many
quite
different
good.
versions. Yeah, I
Yeah,
played the wheels off Sorcerer's Stone on PS1. I was
yeah.
reading the books. I mean, what man, sort of a man was I? I
No,
was
it's a
sat
good
reading
game.
Harry Potter books at 20 some odd, and then sat on a PS1 with a little LCD screen playing this
Mm.
game.
I
And
also
mate,
done a re-release for PS2, which is probably the place to play it.
oh, most definitely. It's a
Yeah,
different game, actually, I
yeah.
think, from memory. But the PS1 version, mate, warpy textures on the wall, Hagrid's horrible face, and I still played the wheels off of it. And, mate,
Yeah,
in my head, bless little me, in
little
my head,
Georgie.
it probably still felt like I was playing Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely would have done at the time. Would have done at
Yeah.
the time. And then I
I just
just,
got a little bit sort of sad for the young version of me, sat on his own playing that.
well,
Poor kid.
I didn't know a lot about the Game Boy Color version until I watched a channel called Flandrew on YouTube, and he was going through them, and actually then broke down the Game Boy Color one, and then we actually realised this, it's almost a JRPG turn-based game, and actually really good for the system.
I
They were,
think I've seen that same video, and I
yeah,
did think, I mean, retrospectively, we now know through the the perk of emulation, even on your mobile, that yeah, that might be the better game to play.
Yeah.
But at the time, there'd have been no way you'd have got me playing that and admitting it
No.
was good compared to that. You see, it's only through retrospection that we can actually maybe appreciate these things.
Yeah, definitely.
Shout out to Bill Gates stroke Epstein's favourite game, Fusion Frenzy. It's the one he pulled out of the Xbox launch. So at the Xbox launch franchise, out of all the games, Odd World Munchies Odyssey, PGR, Halo, he picks out Fusion Frenzy. There's
mm,
something wrong with that bloke. We should have known then.
well, let's not get political. What film are you picking out then, George?
There is, there can be, really, one film to rule them all, mate.
Hmm.
And in 2002, the only film I'm getting out of Ray's boot is Lord of the Rings Two Towers.
Ooh, nice. The one I'm picking is actually released in October as well. Um, this was a film can't quite believe till I had to double and treble check. It's 25 years old, but apparently it is. This is a film that not a lot of people speak about now, but I thought was an absolutely brilliant film, and that is a film called K-Pax, if anyone's ever heard or seen that film. Um,
You've
uh,
picked out K-Pax. I'm just looking in his boot. He's got Lord of the Rings, which is given to me. He's got Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It's got Spider-Man 1, Star Wars
yep.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clonus,
What's
Men
your
in
point
Black
being?
2, Die Another Day, Signs, Ice Age, My Big Fat Greek Yogurt, Minority Report.
Yeah, but I'm not like you mainstreamers. I
He's
find
so edgy.
I go hidden gems even in movies, mate. And I was doing it back then. K-Pax, absolutely brilliant film. Look it up, absolutely superb. Yeah, very unique. Give it a go. Not none of this mainstream rubbish that he's touting on about. Um,
Do you,
yeah,
Ray?
there. As you can see from that, there was a lot of games to
So
choose.
many. Siphon Filter 3,
Unbelievable.
I just fell out,
Yeah,
saw fall out the back of his boot.
yeah. I mean, unbelievable. There was so many games here. We had so much to choose from.
That's on
Um,
PS1.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so many systems to play for. Um, and then obviously we done our news. I hoped, there was a little bit there for everyone. A little bit different in 2001, but you could see who was making waves in the industry and who weren't, with SNK falling away. They weren't able to keep up. But then PS2's doing online games. So you could see where they were trying to head. And then all the trouble with, these big releases like the Getaway. So there's a little bit different there from each thing. Um, but we'll do a little bit of housekeeping now. Just like to say thanks to everyone I met in Bristol at the weekend. Absolutely brilliant. Quite a few people come up and said they enjoyed the show, enjoyed UCP, and people from Discord that I met up with, other YouTubers such as Retro Ed,
Hey,
Marathon Gaming,
RGT.
John Riggs. Great to catch up with all these people. So if you're listening, thank you very much. I had a
I was going to
wonderful
say,
time.
if the listeners are resort meeting you, thank you. Welcome to Flashy B.
Mm,
Welcome to the wider UCP family. Let's get
yeah,
you tucked in. Stroke their face, RGT.
I just have. I did at the weekend.
Hmm, that was
Mm.
under the influence of alcohol. I
Yeah,
want
and
this to be sober
to be
touch.
fair, some have blocked me now. But anyway,
You're like the teacher on In-Betweeners, not the
oh,
tall guy.
wow, wow. This isn't UCP. Keep it clean, please. Be professional. There's a number of drops you've done in this one. Um, but yeah, anyway, we had a great
You can
weekend.
take the boy out of the UCP, but you can't take the UCP out of the boy.
No, you can't. We had a great weekend. Plenty of pickups. Got some brilliant pickups. It was a great, market as well. There was the Oliver twins were there talking about Dizzy as well, which was really good on stage. Amongst other guests, there was a lot of new indie developers there doing these new games, which we were chatting to. So really good. Definitely recommend it. But the main thing of these events is the community, meeting the people, having meals out, meeting new people as well, and all getting friends. It was really, really good. Interesting to talk to other people who are YouTubers and content creators and what they're doing and how they do it. So very, very interesting. George is just wetting himself again. He can't be serious for 2 minutes. What's the matter now, George? Hang on, should we just end the show? Right.
No, no, don't, because we've got the website to talk about, we've got the email, the Discord, all that good stuff. So no, we shouldn't end the show. The idea of you spilling around Bristol with your life, hanging out with your wife,
Oh,
hanging out with content creators, it was just a step too far for me.
I think everything I do is a step too far for you. It's always funny, never serious. I think my whole life is
What's
hilarious
wrong
to
with that?
you. Everything I say, I just get you giggling in the background to whatever
That's
I'm
my
doing.
fault. That's my fault.
But yes, website as well. Definitely check the website out. We've got flashback on there. We've got
Yes,
loads going on the website.
website's smashing RGT.
Thanks to Captain Scarlet, he's done
Promotion
absolute
coming in.
wonders.
Oh, for Captain Scarlet, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely brilliant, and it's evolving all the time. If you want to email us anything about the show, it's questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, or like the
Put flashback in the title so we can get it to the right place, if you could,
yes,
please.
yes, please,
But no
if you
stress.
yes,
And if
and
you
also
message the show and you want us to shout you out through the medium of the text in the audio shows, put your name at the end.
yes, yeah, put your name in. Like I say, we had the comment last week that came through our web provider itself, so that comes straight through to us, and then we can
Yeah,
shout you out. We
they've built
cannot,
it to be anonymous, but we're
yeah,
not really using it that way. So if you want to, and we'll own our failures, RGT, we will. So
oh,
if you want to
definitely,
shout
yes,
us out, you just pop your name at the end.
yes,
No, we'll shout
definitely,
you out. Pop
yeah.
your name at the end, and we'll stand corrected.
Yes, there's no way for us to reply to you that like that other than on the show. So if you want your name read out, put your name at the end, and we'll give you a shout out on that.
Yeah.
If you want to check the Discord out, you can do it by various different ways, either on the UCP Instagram or Retro Gamer Thomas Instagram. We've got link trees on there. Jump on
Yeah.
there, jump in. We've had a few new people join recently who have really joined in the community, joined in. Let's get quizzical,
I did
challenge
one of my
accepted.
check-ins the other day and was blown away by,
Yeah, and everyone's, as always with our Discord, it is a great family place. It's very friendly. It's just a great place to join in, come and talk about some games, show these collections or bits you've been buying. Come and join in with a challenge accepted and bits and pieces that DM does. It's great fun. And also, don't forget, we will be at OLL 26 at Epic Studios in Norwich on the 11th of April. That's a Saturday. If you get your tickets there, come and say hi. We'll have a table there, bit of flashback, bit of UCP, different bits and pieces. Come and have a chat. Come and let us know you enjoy the show. Yeah, and hopefully we can have a good time there as well. So that's another event that we will be doing. Anything else you want to add, George?
No, you've done the housekeeping, mate. Website, email, Discord, OLL. Excited for that. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
Glad that everyone had a good time at Bristol Gaming Market. Glad that the show's getting the recognition it deserves, mate. Another great
It was,
episode.
yeah, it was really good, and like I say, it's so nice too. Scott and Retrohead have a really good community around them of other, like I say, creators and that, and to be part of that was really good.
That's
And
nice.
then
That's
when they're
sweet.
saying how they enjoy the show and what we do, and we had comments about how we bounce off each other and we're funny and we're unique. There's nothing quite like what we do. It was brilliant. The compliments were fantastic, blew me away. Everyone's very kind.
We're like the connoisseur's special secret, aren't we? It's just a shame they don't share it with a few more of the connoisseurs.
Yeah, or just download the back catalogue once a week on a different device.
And we've been
Uh,
going since the internet started. Like, what have we done wrong? Who were we hurting?
yeah, but if you haven't heard UCP, yeah, definitely just jump across. There's well over 300 episodes on there now. 7 years of content. Very different shows from retrospectives right up to the modern sort of news shows. Jump on, download a few, have a bit of fun. I'm not say jump in the
It's
Discord,
like
come say
it's
hi.
like stepping in my on my foot RGT and my brain lifting open like a flip top bin, and then it's basically like 300 episodes looking in my brain. Um, that's probably put them all off and unsubscribed anyone that we've managed to find. Thank you to everyone who listens on the audio. We really do appreciate that. Obviously, we're not quite ready to push Flashy V to video yet. But we look forward to seeing you there. And if you're listening to this, we thank you for your audio support, but we'd love to see you on YouTube.
Mm,
I never thought, 7 years of audio success would mean that when we finally decided to give YouTube a proper go, it would be turned into probably one of the hardest slogs of our life.
yeah,
Um, There's a lot of people on YouTube.
Yeah, there certainly is, and they're
There's
all
a lot less
stampering
people
all
on
over
audio.
us. um, yeah, it's tricky. So if you do listen on a download, please go across to YouTube, give us a sub. If you want to comment on a video, please do. Have a watch of the video, because even though you've already listened to the show, actually watching it, one, you get to see our beautiful faces, mainly George's, and secondly, it
I
really helps.
still do not know why you're obsessed with seeing two grown men talking about kids' toys on the internet, but you demanded it,
Yep,
so we're
yep.
giving you it. Yeah.
So yeah, jump across over to there, and if you could, even if just give us a sub, give us a little boost that way, and yeah, that'll all help in the long run, hopefully. But I think we're about done, aren't we, George? I believe.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks to everyone
Let me
who
embrace
listened.
you the way I should have embraced video from the start. Mwah.
Wow, I'm going to clip that, use it as my message too. Uh, oh, got a message from George. Mwah.
There you go, pal.
Um, yes, thanks to everyone who's listening, downloading, and carrying on enjoying the show and all your nice comments. Thanks to you, George, as always, for
Thank
joining.
you, good sir. Thank you to everyone
Um,
that's listened.
and just leaves me to say, flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot. See you later, everyone, and I'll see you later, George.
See you guys.